Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 11.
Several major stories right now at 11. A young woman attacked on a South Charlotte greenway while walking her dog. And these massive flames crumbling a highway in Atlanta. But first, we're tracking heavy downpours pushing into Charlotte again, threatening dangerous conditions for the morning drive. That system is pushing rain into our area right now. I'm Scott Wickersham.
I'm Erica Bryant. Our chief meteorologist Steve Butelson is pinpointing the threat in your neighborhood. Steve?
Erica, most neighborhoods have seen rain and there's more to come. Statesville back toward Sherrills Ford, Hickory down toward Lincolnton. We're seeing some moderate to heavy rain, shades of orange and red. The lightning's disappeared. This is when the rain will disappear as we track it moving out of Lincolnton in about 10 minutes. Conover, Clearmont by about 11:30, eventually Stony Point, Turnersburg. Then our attention heads to the west, out across the high country. Batch of heavy rain, no lightning with this, but it is going to come down pretty heavily toward Dysersville and Newland in about 15 minutes. Seven Devils and Boone by about 11:30 to 11:50. There is more rain over Georgia, and the back edge of the rain is that same cold front we've been showing you the video of for days that's produced severe weather. That has yet to come through. Here's the way it shakes out overnight tonight with the rain moving into the metro. Probably by about 2 or 3 in the morning will be the peak of the rain. By about 5 or 6 a.m. it begins to move out. That is welcome news. As far as threats overnight tonight, heavy rain far and away the greatest threat. Don't be surprised if you hear the rumble of thunder, but the risk of severe weather, that window is closing.
Thank you, Stephen. We will have an update on that chance for rain tomorrow morning on daybreak with traffic and weather together every 10 minutes starting at 4:30 a.m.
Now breaking news in South Charlotte tonight. Police say someone attacked a woman at knife point along a greenway while walking her dog.
It happened near the entrance of the McAlpine Creek Greenway off Johnston Road. An Eyewitness News reporter Alexa Ashwell learned the woman's dog helped her get away.
Yes, Scott, Erica, police say this attack happened not far from this entrance to the Greenway, in fact, where the path goes into the woods. And just in the past 20 minutes, police released new details. One, that the suspect was armed with a knife and that the victim's dog, in fact, helped save her. And police say they got the call for help around 6 this evening. That's a time when many people would be on this Greenway, possibly after work. Police say this victim, a woman in her 20s, was walking with her dog when suddenly a man armed with a knife attacked her. Police say the woman's dog bit the man and he ran off. Officers swarmed the area, even using their helicopter to search by air. This Greenway runs along a lot of neighborhoods here in South Charlotte. Residents say this attack is unfortunate for many reasons.
It's a shame because that's a nice area. It's meant for pleasure. It's meant for everybody to enjoy.
Now, thankfully, that woman was not hurt. As for the suspect, police describe him as a man in his early to mid-30s, wearing brown pants and a brown hoodie. They have not been able to locate him, so residents here should be alert. Reporting live in South Charlotte, Alexa Ashwell, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Alexa. And we sent out a breaking news alert as soon as we learned about the attack. You can receive those by downloading the WSOC TV app.
Also breaking tonight, a huge fire on I-85 in Atlanta forced a major overpass to collapse. This has caused a traffic nightmare. You can imagine the traffic already in Atlanta. Anchor Allison Lottis is in the Breaking News Center with what we know about this fire.
Well, Scott, the fire started burning underneath I-85 northbound lanes in northeast Atlanta before 7 o'clock tonight. Take a look at this incredible video. You can see the powerful flames and that giant plume of smoke seen for miles. Witnesses say troopers were telling cars to turn around on the bridge because they were worried about its integrity, and minutes later it collapsed. Georgia's governor declared a state of emergency and is asking everyone to avoid that area.
But don't put anybody's life in jeopardy by getting in the way. We don't want people in the way of those who are trying to make the assessments and trying to do the repairs in as fast a fashion as possible.
The fire is out now, but I-85 remains closed and traffic is at a standstill. You can see drivers were trapped, some forced to turn around. The FBI says the fire was an accident, but they're still investigating an official cause. No injuries were reported.
Thank you, Allison. New tonight, the NCAA is speaking out for the first time since leaders in North Carolina repealed House Bill 2.
House Bill 142 was signed today. The new law allows transgender people to use the bathroom of their choice in a public building. It prohibits local non-discrimination ordinances about bathroom laws until December 2020. We brought you these breaking developments through Eyewitness News at 5 and 6 tonight. And new tonight, sports anchor Phil Orban heard from the NCAA president about whether they will now bring a championship event to North Carolina. He's live in Phoenix tonight.
Yeah, Scott, the state of North Carolina has lost the NBA All-Star Game, thousands of jobs, and hundreds of millions of dollars. But it was the specter of losing NCAA championship events and really NCAA basketball tournament games that spurned quick action from state lawmakers. But has the HB2 repeal done enough to ensure March Madness returns to the state? For now, the answer is maybe. The NCAA Board of Governors will meet early next week to determine whether the changes to the law are sufficient.
Everybody loves being in North Carolina for our games. It's a state, obviously, that in many ways is synonymous with college sport.
NCAA President Mark Emmert said the Board of Governors, who initially pulled all championship events out of North Carolina, has been as patient as they can be. The NCAA has accommodated the state's decision-making process, delaying championship site selection as long as they could. Time is running out.
We've reached a place where they actually need to start making those decisions because we start losing sites.
But action has been taken, and it was likely pressure from the NCAA that caused it. And if championships return to the state, it will be in an environment that Emmert says fosters inclusion.
We're simply trying to do what's right for our students. I'm personally just glad that we have a bill that at least they can debate and look at, and we'll see what they decide.
Emmert says he expects the decision from the Board of Governors by the middle of next week. It's estimated that those championship events could have a $250 million economic impact in North Carolina. Live in Glendale, Arizona, Phil Orban, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Phil, thank you. Eyewitness News reporter Deshaun Brown continues our team coverage tonight with how local leaders are hoping that today's move will help big business and big events start to trickle back here. Deshaun?
Erica, right now I am outside of the Spectrum Center, and this is one of several venues across the state that suffered major losses over House Bill 2. That's from concerts that were pulled, even the NBA All-Star Game. Well, tonight leaders across the city and state said they're fighting to get those events back.
Having voted in the affirmative, 48 in the negative, Senate Committee substitute to House Bill 142 was adopted.
This could be a game changer. Tonight, with House Bill 2 off the books, leaders across North Carolina believe the state is now poised to bring back big business.
I could not tolerate it another minute.
The financial losses have reached hundreds of millions, and all in the last year. That's after companies like PayPal refused to expand here, or events like NBA All-Star Weekend and the ACC Championship yanked their events from North Carolina.
Companies that I've talked to, companies that I have recruited, now are telling me we are coming.
In a statement tonight, the ACC commissioner spoke out too. He said the new law reopens the discussion on whether the conference should host events here. That includes the ACC Football Championship, once contracted to be hosted in Charlotte and through 2019. For City Councilman James Mitchell, also chair of Economic Development, those changes can't come soon enough.
It's the job creation. A lot of our citizens like to be employed in the hospitality industry, and HB2 had a big impact.
Tonight, we also heard from the state commerce secretary, who said he plans to call every company that would not come to North Carolina over House Bill 2 and try to get them back as well. Reporting live outside of the Spectrum Center, Deshaun Brown, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
The Republican leadership in Raleigh is also expecting this deal to bring back some of those big losses.
With this law being passed now, there is absolutely no justification for sports leagues, businesses, any entity, any individual to treat North Carolina any different.
The city of Charlotte released a statement in full in support of the repeal, saying, quote, "We are looking forward to moving on from this matter." But Charlotte Mayor Jennifer Roberts said she's disappointed in the new law. Her statement says this is not a repeal, nor is this a reset. This is a rejection of Charlotte and North Carolina's progressive, inclusive values. We are not HB2. We are not today's false repeal. And earlier tonight at the governor's mansion, dozens of protesters made a lot of noise, saying they're frustrated by this law. They say they wanted a full repeal of HB2, no strings attached. Channel 9 will continue to stay on top of this major story. You can find all of today's coverage at our website. Just look for this on the home page.
Tomorrow, both the Gamecocks and the Tar Heel basketball teams will be holding their first open practices ahead of the Final Four. This is the first time that the teams will be practicing on the court that they will play on this weekend. Fans will also have the chance to go watch them in action. And if you can't make it out to Phoenix, well, just watch Channel 9. We've got complete coverage with live reports from our sports anchor Phil Orban throughout the tournament.
Tonight, community activists marched through the streets in North Charlotte to send a message about neighborhood safety. Police blocked traffic as several groups marched in the rain to try what they called a walk the block organization. They say they want to put a stop to violent crimes in their neighborhood. In West Charlotte, parents, teachers, and CMPD officers all gathered at Allenbrook Elementary School to talk about recent violence in that area. Just last week, Channel 9 told you 18-year-old Tyshot Brown was found killed right by the school's playground. Police are still searching for his killer.
President Trump's former national security advisor says he is willing to testify about his alleged ties to Russia in exchange for legal immunity. The House and Senate Intelligence Committees are currently investigating possible Russian ties to the U.S. presidential campaign. Well, Flynn was fired after leaders learned that he misled the vice president about the meetings he had with Russia's ambassador to the U.S. during the campaign.
And now some new information after unexploded ammunition was found at the Frito-Lay factory last night. In an update today, police said the bomb squad was able to safely remove the ammo and mortars, all found buried in the Nevada Boulevard property. Police say they're being stored in an explosive bunker now and will be given to the military to be disposed of.
I'll show you how much rain we'll see before it ends and just how deep into the day tomorrow we'll have to go before we get the sun back.
A frightening emergency in the sky. An American Airlines pilot calling for help. His co-pilot falling suddenly ill.
Yeah, we've got an issue with one of their pilots.
New at 11, the medical emergency in the cockpit with passengers on board. An emergency in the sky. Authorities say an American Airlines co-pilot died moments after making an emergency landing in New Mexico. This happened during one of the most critical parts of the flight, the landing. Listen to the pilot's call for help.
Yeah, we've got an issue with one of their pilots. Got to declare emergency. I'd like to have the medical crew meet us on landing.
On approach into Albuquerque on Wednesday, the co-pilot on that American Airlines flight on that 737 became sick. Paramedics rushed to the plane, but 58-year-old First Officer William Grubbs could not be saved. Airline pilot and aviation professor Tanya Gatlin says flight crews train for these rare worst-case scenarios.
It's definitely an increased workload, and it's definitely a stressful situation. We're trained for it, we're prepared for it. Along with that is the emotional stress of your friend, you know, and you're hoping that they're okay.
The CEO of American says Grubbs' family lost a husband and father, and many colleagues lost a good personal friend.
Today, police confirmed that a man who was found buried in a shallow grave in Statesville is the same person who was reported missing earlier this month. Officers say that DJ Turner had been shot. Days after his disappearance, his family members filed a missing persons report, and they fanned out across the city trying to track him down. Tonight, they're struggling, not knowing who is responsible for his death.
It's been a long and difficult time for all of us. It's starting to really tell on us physically, mentally, emotionally.
Investigators discovered Turner's remains after a tip led them to that neighborhood.
New at 11, a man pled guilty this week to assaulting someone on a flight last year. Now, we told you back in November that witnesses told the FBI Augustus Duncan hit a passenger in the head, grabbed a flight attendant's leg, and was visibly under the influence of drugs. By the time the flight landed and law enforcement got on the plane at Charlotte Douglas, he was passed out.
Legislation aimed at banning one method of abortion is on its way to the South Carolina Senate. The House passed the bill today, which would make it a felony for doctors to remove live fetuses from the womb in pieces. Now, some talking about this bill call it immoral. Others say that lawmakers aren't doctors and that they should not interfere with a woman's access to safe abortions.
The U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington will decide if the attack on a professor from Central Piedmont Community College was indeed a hate crime. Namal Nefeh is an American citizen who was born in Palestine. We showed you this video last night at 11 of him being attacked by protesters outside of a convention center in Washington, D.C. Today, Nefeh told us it started when he told the protesters he was Palestinian.
All what I was thinking, oh my God, is this happening to me? You know what I'm saying? I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And then I can feel hits from everywhere, and I fell down and I can feel the kicks everywhere in my body.
Police in D.C. arrested 2 suspects, one from New Jersey, one from Canada.
Local leaders say they want to change the way that teenagers are tried in the court system. In North Carolina, people as young as 16 can be treated as adults. A bill that is now in the House would change the law so that teenagers accused of non-violent crimes would be tried in juvenile courts instead. At a town hall meeting tonight in Charlotte, supporters told Channel 9 that this measure could actually reduce crime.
If we can get the kid on the right path, and as opposed to putting him in prison, then hopefully his life will be better or her life will be better.
Right now, New York is the only other state that still tries 16 and 17-year-olds as adults.
Well, got plenty of rain out there today. Some more tomorrow. Steve says we need it.
Yes, Scott, this is really good news for those that suffer from allergies. The tree pollen count went absolutely nuts overnight tonight. It is now very high as it's been all season. You saw the yellow film on just about everything. That's all oak tree pollen, and the rain tonight will be helpful to wash it out. It's also hopefully going to put a little bit of a dent in the drought. Update today showed no improvement. Still moderate drought really from the Catawba River west into the mountains, and severe drought over the mountains and foothills. So that is not good news. Here is good news. We do have some welcome rain on the way. I am pretty hopeful we can keep the severe weather out, but you will hear the rain overnight tonight on your roof. In fact, a pretty good batch of storms now over the upstate and southwest mountains. Just to give you sort of an idea on a timeline, gets to Morganton about 1 a.m., Shelby about 1:30, in the Charlotte area probably about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Do not be surprised to hear the rumble of thunder. Need a light jacket and an umbrella as you step out the door tomorrow for the morning drive. Vicki Graff is going to be here to take you through that morning ride, show you where the showers are. I can tell you this, we've got winds picking up in a hurry as we head through tomorrow. As the cold front sweeps through, the winds are going to really pick up. But the good news is they're going to sweep the rain out. Notice the hour-by-hour rain chance really dropping off quickly after the morning drive. And you can see the humidity dropping as well. Shades of green by 8 a.m. tomorrow. Still here in the metro, deeper shades of green is where the deeper rain, the better rain chances are east of town. But notice the drying conditions, shades of beige coming back as we head through tomorrow afternoon. And you can see in our futurecast showing the sunshine coming back as we head through tomorrow afternoon. And the stage still set, my friends, for an absolutely fantastic weekend. We'll get to that in a moment. Upper 60s at lunchtime, low to mid 70s tomorrow afternoon east of the mountains. The clouds will linger in the mountains for most of tomorrow, holding temperatures back quite a bit. Take you to Weddington, where we'll see some early rain push out, highs in the mid 70s. Up in the high country, clouds and showers linger through lunchtime, and then we'll slowly taper it off as we head through the afternoon, lower 60s. As I mentioned, the weekend, worth the wait. Sunshine, mid 70s Saturday. I see nothing more than some high clouds coming at us on Sunday, mid 70s again. But as we head into next week, the rain comes back. So everyone wins. We get rain tonight and tomorrow, and then rain again over the early part of next week. 5-day forecast keeps temperatures in the 70s right into next week. Again, really the best days of the next 5 over the weekend. Can't complain about Mother Nature's timing on that one. Looks good.
We'll take it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Ahead, a Charlotte coach cheering on 3 of his former athletes who are now headed to the Final Four. The advice that he has for them ahead of the big games.
And a breakthrough for multiple sclerosis patients, the newly approved drug and what it means for local patients. It's a major breakthrough for people with multiple sclerosis tonight. The FDA approved the first drug ever for the most severe form of MS, primary progressive MS. Wayne Lynch died from that disease. His brother spoke about the new medicine now hitting the market.
When you first heard that it was approved, I mean, your reaction?
Oh, it's incredible. Clearly, this is a game changer.
Well, the price tag on that new drug, $65,000 per year. That's reportedly, though, about 20% less than other meds being used right now. The National MS Society still wants to make sure insurance companies cover the drug so patients can have access to it.
New tonight, the owner of a Charlotte area abortion clinic told police that there has been a cyber attack on the business's software. The owner of a Preferred Women's Health of Charlotte on Latrobe Drive reported that attack yesterday afternoon. Police said that there was about $3,000 worth of physical damage there.
Good to see you. The North Carolina Tar Heels and South Carolina Gamecocks have begun prepping for Saturday's Final Four. Sports anchor Phil Orban spoke with both Carolina contenders in Glendale.
The first full day at University of Phoenix Stadium is in the books. All four teams practiced, all four teams met with the media, and all four teams presumably like their chances. For the UNC Tar Heels, they'll be leaning on their experience, not from last year's Final Four, but from the past two games. After nail-biting wins over Arkansas and Kentucky, West Charlotte product Kennedy Meeks believes those close calls will only make UNC a tougher out.
I think that gives us confidence. I think that when we know that it's a close game, we're capable of bringing it out and being on top. And I feel like Arkansas and Kentucky were those type of games. And if it so happens to be that way on Saturday, hopefully we can pull it out.
For South Carolina, the lack of experience in big moments make the big moments that much more special, especially for sophomore guard P.J. Dozier, who grew up going to games in Columbia.
Seeing the tough times, when we come to the games and there's really nobody in the stands, I think it just makes it that much better for us, being able to experience the good and the bad as well.
Tomorrow, the first time we'll see both teams on the court. South Carolina's up first at 11 a.m. local time. For now, in Glendale, Phil Orban, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Panthers quarterback Cam Newton will start rehab on Monday following surgery on his throwing shoulder this morning. Panthers head athletic trainer Ryan Vermillion telling Panthers.com that head team physician Dr. Pat Connor performed arthroscopic surgery to Newton's partially torn rotator cuff. Dr. Connor was pleased with the results of the surgery. While rehab starts Monday, Newton will not be able to throw a football for roughly 4 months. He is expected to be ready for training camp. The Charlotte Hornets have 7 games left. They pulled out a season-saving win on the road against the Toronto Raptors. Entering the fourth quarter, north of the border, Buzz City trailed by 8 points. A big final quarter from behind the arc. The Hornets drilled 8 three-pointers in the fourth. The clutch shot of the night goes to Kemba Walker. Walker scoring a team-high 19 points afterwards, admitting persistence was key.
We just really stuck with the game. I mean, shots weren't falling, consistently all night, but necessary plays win the game.
Didn't start out well shooting, but they got hot at the right time. Hopefully that'll be a trend for the rest of the season. Tomorrow, they're back in Charlotte. They're hosting the Denver Nuggets at the Spectrum Center.
Tell them not to drive down I-85. I got a problem in Atlanta tonight.
I'll let them know.
If they're coming that way.
Right.
All right, thanks, Matt.
A Charlotte coach has 3 reasons to brag ahead of the Final Four this weekend. 3 of his former athletes will be playing in the games. His advice to them now. A Charlotte basketball coach has 3 reasons to brag about this upcoming weekend's Final Four. Jacoby Davis is the coach of Team United. It's a team that pulls some of the best basketball talent from all across our area. South Carolina's Sindarius Thornwell and North Carolina's Kennedy Meeks and Luke May all played for that team at one point. Their former coach offered this advice before Saturday's games.
Stay focused. Main thing is stay focused and just stay grinding. Be tough.
Stay grinding. Coach Davis is hoping that both North Carolina and South Carolina will win their games, and if that happens, he says he's not taking any sides.
That's what Erica says to me on Friday. Scott, finish the week, stay grinding every week. Well, new developments in North Carolina legislation being called the Brunch Bill. Today, a Senate committee took up talks on the bill that would allow restaurants to start serving alcohol at 10 a.m. on Sundays rather than noon. Supporters say times have changed since the original rule was made. Others worry it would cause more crashes because people go to church at that time.
Take a last look at tonight's rain and that great weekend forecast when we come back. Rain on the way overnight tonight, the bulk of which is gone by the time you get up in the morning. Great weekend coming up.
All right. Thanks for watching tonight at 11 o'clock.
Get the latest overnight news and the forecast for your morning on Daybreak. It starts at 4:30 a.m.